we have an ordinance against that.
You know, I had a deal actually at a Pistons game in front of 20-some thousand.
Good evening. Welcome to the August 8th, 2017 meeting of the River Falls Common Council. First thing we'll do is raise for stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Could the clerk call the roll, please?
Bierstedt.
Here.
Bjork.
Here.
Downing. Gagne. Morissette.
Here.
Odine. Watson.
Here.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll approve the minutes from the July 25th, 2017 regular meeting and the July 25th, 2017 workshop minutes.
I'd like to propose that we accept both the regular meeting and the workshop meetings of July 25th.
Second.
All right, we've got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, meeting minutes pass. Mr. Bjork, you have bills tonight?
I sure do. I'd like to move for the approval of the bills in the amount of $568,250.64, subject to the comptroller.
Second.
All right, first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next on the agenda, before we move to public comment, I would like to just make a quick comment on behalf of the city. I want to offer our condolences on the passing of the Prescott Police Chief, Gary Krutke, who died of cancer this last weekend. He had been the police chief for 3.5 years in Prescott, so our condolences go to him. At this time, we'll open it up for public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to be recognized for public comment? I know we have one. Go ahead, Joel. You want to step up and introduce yourself and sign in?
Yeah. Hope you don't mind me not getting gussied up for you tonight
right.
here. Took a little longer on a habitat project we're trying to finish up in Barron today. You have copies from Christie on what I sent out, or no?
I believe they were mailed.
Emailed. I have copies here too. If you,
Okay. You just hand them to the chief. He'll get them.
Yeah.
He'll pass them over to us.
I don't want to read them all through if you don't mind on that. I just wanted to do a couple of highlights
Sure,
on
go
them, if
ahead.
that's okay.
Whatever you'd like to do.
First, I'd probably say I'm Joel Palmquist. I live in on East Locust in River Falls here, and been involved with Habitat for a little bit, going back. And I just want to highlight a couple things that I have in my comments there. Is one thing that you probably don't hear often enough, or often enough, is thanks. And I just want to say thanks for all that the city has done to provide homes for 18 families out on Apollo Road in Eco Village. And also, thinking back, you had lots to do with the first 4 homes built here in River Falls too. There's the old city garage. It was below the water tower north of the Knowles Center that was donated to Habitat to use for building the first 4 homes there as well. This time, I think, really went above and beyond. The work this spring, I think, really needs to be recognized, doing the work out on trails and erosion stabilization and so on. For me personally, it gave me an opportunity to really work, get to meet and work with a lot of great volunteers and families, so that's my personal stake in that. One other thing I just want to mention is we banter about the word affordable a lot. And I have not seen anything about total development costs or subsidy analysis for the houses out there. But then I also want to look at it from the position or the perspective of the primary partner that we have, and that would be the homeowner. That's the why we build. And it was 2 winters ago I congratulated a homeowner on becoming a new homeowner, and her first words to me through tears were, "I don't know if I can afford it." It's a point there where if your increase in taxes and related expenses, taxes and mortgage and related expenses, if your monthly increase in those is about equal to what the expected decrease in utility costs are, it can catch up with you rather quickly. And I know hers is not an isolated case out there as well. They are dealing with it, I know, on themselves there to try and make their commitments that they have there. So it's just what I want to highlight on the comments I had there, and say thanks to the council too for your work. You probably don't hear thanks for your service to the city as well. So.
Thank you, Joel. Appreciate the comments. Anybody else have any public comments they would like to make? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Item 1 is a resolution approving a special use permit, non-metallic mining in the town of River Falls, ETZ, for Total Excavation LLC. Adopting this resolution will approve the special use permit for non-metallic mining in the city's ETZ zone in the town of River Falls. Item number 2 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2017 John Deere loader. Adopting this resolution would approve the purchase of a replacement loader with a bucket, plow, wing, and pallet forks. Number 3 is a resolution approving the bid for the power plant substation switchgear building. Approving this resolution would award the bid to Ross and Associates to construct the switchgear building and fencing for the new power plant substation. Would anybody like to pull anything?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item number 1,
Item number 1,
or
Mr.
Morissette, I should say.
Mr. Watson pulled number 1. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, I'd accept the
I'm-
motion.
I move approval for consent agenda items 2 and 3.
All right,
Second.
we have a first and a second. Any discussion at all? Nothing? Nope. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 2 and 3 are passed. Mr. Watson, you pulled number 1.
Yes, I have some questions, and I'm wondering if some of the representatives of the Peterson or Mr. Kuzlik might be here to help
Mr.
answer
Kuzlik
those.
is here, and Matt Heeb, I think, his engineer, is here.
My first question is, has the township reviewed and approved this plan so far?
It-
Hello, Mr. Kuzlik, thank you.
Good evening, Matt Heeb with ACA,
Excuse me.
and the answer is yes, township has approved it. We've went to about 4 meetings there, so
Sounds good.
yes. It went through their plan commission, town board, and through the ETZ committee also, so I think they had 3 members from the ETZ on it.
Yeah,
Got it.
I sat on that meeting as well.
Good. And do you have a permit in hand from the county at this time?
We have approval tentatively from the county. I talked to them today to just confirm. We just have to get the letter of credit or bond in place and sign the assurance. So that's been reviewed as well.
And that brings me to my third question. I saw the letter of assurance with Mr. Kuzlik's signature pending. How much is the bond for the reclamation expected to be?
I'm going to go off memory. It's in the report. I can look it up. I believe it's approximately $25,000
Okay.
or so. I can look if you want to know exact numbers.
And how long do you anticipate this operation to be in construction, and then before the full reclamation takes place? I know reclamation is going to take place 5 acres at a time.
Right. The total mine site or sand pit is 10 acres total, so about half will be open at a time. We don't have a set date for when it will be reclaimed. It's going to be based on demand, on how much sand is needed. So it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. We don't have a set date or time.
Okay. That's one of the things that concerns me, is that we kind of will have a big pit out there and no end date as to when that thing will be cleaned up. And depending on demand and the market, that could be a very, very, very long time. I don't know. I'm not an expert in mining, so I'm not sure about it. But just wanted to bring that up. I noted that there is the Rocky Run within kind of the area of the project overall, or very close to it. See if I've got all my maps here. And I'm wondering if you can tell me in a summary fashion how you intend to protect the Rocky Run from a hard rain in the spring, that type of thing. I know there's going to be a wet pit there, but
There's also a infiltration basin, if you look on the drawings it's shown. And the infiltration's been sized for a 25-year storm event to capture the runoff from 25-year storm event.
okay. All right.
Any other questions?
I think that'll do. Thank you.
I'll just share something really quick, and then Matt, I'll ask you to expound on it. I sat on the ETZ with the Plan Commission with it, and there was some discussion. The thought was the longer it's open was probably better at that point because it reduced traffic and it got people used to trucks going in and out of there. But the other piece that I found interesting and got some comfort with was the oversight by the DNR and their interaction. So Matt, could you just expound on the DNR's role with this?
Yeah, there's quite a few approval agencies, as you may or may not know. We've had to go through the city, we've had to go through the township, and the township placed quite a few conditions on their approval. We also have to get a DNR permit, a stormwater permit, and they review the reclamation grading plans and everything at the same time as well. So the county also does a pretty thorough review, so we get a reclamation permit from the county as well.
Okay.
Right.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
accept
I'll
the
make a motion then to approve item number 1 on the consent agenda.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we'll move into ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 2017-17 to amend the official zoning map for Sullivan Court. This is a first reading. First reading of the ordinance and rezoning of the land in the vicinity of Sullivan Court. The second reading will be on August 22nd. Anybody have any comments for staff, or I see the landowners are here as well. That's impacted. Okay, hearing none, I'll accept, we don't need a motion on that. We'll just move on. Move into reports, electronic transmission and distribution 101 video presentation with WPPI Senior Energy Services Representative Wes Arndt. Wes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Morissette, and thank you, Council, for your time tonight. Again, my name is Weston Arndt, Energy Services Representative with WPPI Energy, the city's wholesale electric supplier. Kevin Westhouse, your utility director, wanted to provide a little background on the city's electric grid for you tonight in a format that was a little less dry than me up here rambling on with the presentation. So working with a few staff members, he created a short video titled Electricity 101. So if you have any questions once this video is complete, Wayne Seiberling and I will be available to answer some questions. So.
We plug it in, we turn it on, and it works. But most of us are unaware that the electricity we are using at that very moment was produced at a power plant or other electricity generator, often miles and miles away. Today's Electricity Delivery 101 is going to take a closer look at the wires, transformers, and substations required to get the electricity from the power plant to your home or place of business instantly. Much like there are different types of roads needed to get you to and from your home, depending on the distance you're going to travel, there are different types of lines depending on how far the electricity has to travel. As it leaves the power plant, electricity gets on the interstate highway of electric lines. These transmission lines are designed to carry a great amount of electricity long distances using high voltages. These high transmission voltages range from 500 kilovolts down to 69 kilovolts before it comes into a substation in or near a community. Think of voltage like the speed of your car. Transmission lines carry high voltages long distances, just like interstate highways are used by fast-moving cars to go long distances. The higher the voltages, the farther electricity can travel efficiently. As the electricity nears the area where it will be used, it is transferred to smaller lines and lower voltages. And just like cars go through an interchange to get off the interstate highway onto smaller highways, electricity goes through a substation or series of substations where voltage is reduced so it can travel on smaller lines. When electricity runs through the substation, like our 3 in River Falls, the electricity is reduced to a voltage that can travel through neighborhoods and corporate parks to homes and businesses in our community. But just as the speed limit on your street is too fast to pull into your garage without slowing down, the electricity voltage in your neighborhood needs to be slowed down one more time in order to deliver it safely to the end user. This final voltage reduction is done by either a pole-top transformer for an overhead service or a pad-mounted transformer on the ground for underground electric service. At this point, the electricity is at a safe voltage that can be used in your home or business. These lines that come from the transformer to the end user is called a service drop. The service drop is connected to a meter base and must be installed by a licensed electrician. In the meter base is the meter socket itself, where the meter is located to record the usage. The electricity runs through the meter and into your home or business 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. In River Falls, we have 4 transmission lines that can feed electricity to our community. Xcel Energy has 1, River Falls Municipal Utility has 2, and Dairyland Power has 1. Xcel has a transmission line that enters both the north substation and the power plant substation. We also connect with Dairyland Power transmission lines just out of town on the east side. Our wholesale power purchaser and provider, WPPI Energy, pays transmission companies to wheel our power or electrons across these lines to get it to our community, kind of like a toll road. You have to pay to get on it. These costs are built into our electric rate that we all pay. River Falls Municipal Utilities also generates some revenue from its own transmission lines that are used by Xcel Energy to transmit electrons. We have both revenues and expenditures with our 11 miles of transmission lines and continually assess the value of these assets. We know that electricity is something we depend on every moment of every day. And we are constantly working to ensure that the entire system of lines, poles, substations, and transformers are always ready to supply the electricity you need all of the time to residents and businesses of River Falls.
All right. Wes, anybody have any questions for Wes?
How can you not be fired up after that?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time
Yeah,
tonight.
thank you for the presentation. All right, moving on, we're going to go to the administrator's report, if we have any questions for Scott, and I think we also have a,
I've got a number of things to highlight in the report, and then I've got somebody to help me report who can do a better job of reporting on the topic than I can. So chip sealing, we want to thank the public for their continued patience in helping us with the maintenance of our streets and keeping our status as the best local road system in the region, maybe in the state. We understand that there is some annoyance with the chip seal program, but we're very pleased about the value we can provide, and I think the results of the condition of our streets kind of speak for themselves. So we do try to refine. We're always looking for we're happy to take any feedback people have about the program, and we're always looking for little things we can do to improve the program. So that should be wrapping up tomorrow with a number of streets that we're doing, and we're happy to do that. The mayor and city council, I believe, as well as the public, are invited to the Grow to Share Gardens on August 10th or 17th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. There'll be harvesting and free community education classes. Board members of the Grow to Share Gardens will be there at the time to also provide a tour and answer questions about Grow to Share. Grow to Share is a unique partnership that the city has with a nonprofit where we provide land for garden space. That garden space is used to grow crops and provide community education and support local food pantries. Glen Park meeting will be August 16. The format, location, and time of the renovation project meeting has changed a bit from the initial announcement. It will be Wednesday, August 16th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at City Hall in the training room. Originally, we had scheduled to be out at the park, but we needed a little bit more space in a room. There will be a presentation at this meeting, and it'll be followed by question and answer session. There's a park board meeting, which, as all of our meetings are open to the public, that will be occurring 5:15 to 6:15 before that meeting. We're happy to invite our customers August 17th for a customer appreciation event that will occur at City Hall from 11 to 1. As in the past, that event will provide a free community meal and a lot of information about various programs of the city's utilities, but also other city services and partners. I am aware of a parking request from Matt Toomey, and we will provide some staff information on that request at a future council meeting once we've had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Toomey. The citizen survey results, preliminary results, have been returned to us from National Citizen Survey. We're reviewing those draft results, and we will be providing a report to the city council, which is favorable as always, at our first meeting in September. Department of Revenue of the state of Wisconsin has provided an initial equalized value report for all communities in the state. Pleased to report the equalized, not assessed value, but equalized value in the community estimated to have risen 6% over the 12-month period, 4% attributed to market improvement, and 2% in new construction. That's all of the reports I have, and then I'd invite Attorney Dick Eady, who's able to be with us tonight because he's going to be doing some work with staff in the morning, and he has a few comments or updates to report only on our pending litigation with the town of Troy.
Scott, Dick, before we do that, is there anybody have any questions for Scott before we move into Dick's report? Okay. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, just going to give you a status update. As you know, the town of Troy has sued the city over the annexation of approximately 290 acres just northwest of town. The statute allows the city to annex non-contiguous territory if the city owns it, it's near the city, and the use is not contrary to any town or county zoning regulation. The town's challenge is that it was not near and that the use is contrary to a town zoning regulation. At the court hearing in June, the court determined that the use was both that there wasn't a town zoning regulation because the town was relying on the city's extraterritorial zoning to claim that that was a town zoning regulation, and that the use was not contrary to that regulation. We've got a trial on the issue of whether or not the territory is near the city, scheduled to begin on November 20. Since we got that ruling from the court on the use, the town has asked the court to reconsider that decision, and that motion for reconsideration will be argued in court tomorrow afternoon. The town has also asked the court to impanel an advisory jury on the issue and for a jury view of the property, and those issues I expect will also be addressed in court tomorrow afternoon. So that's one of the reasons I'm up here, is for that court hearing tomorrow afternoon. The other reason is to meet with staff to address discovery that's been submitted to the city. What lawyers call discovery are, they've asked the city to admit certain things. They've submitted certain interrogatories or questions for us to answer. They've asked us to produce documents, and they want to take depositions of the mayor, city engineer, and city administrator. So tomorrow morning I'm going to be talking to the city staff about discovery, and that's the other reason I'm up here. The third thing I can report, I guess, is that mediation has been ordered by the court, or I expect will be ordered by the court. The order hasn't yet been signed. And so we will be talking to the town about choosing a mediator and a time for that mediation to see if this matter can be resolved short of trial. And that's my status report.
Thank you, Dick. All right, that's it for the
I
agenda.
do have one thing. I'd like to just make sure we thank, last week was National Night Out, and it was great that we had, at least at our block party, we had 2 ambulances showed up. We had the snorkel show up, the old-time fire truck, and 1 police car with full staff. So I thought it was great. We had a good turnout at ours, and I hopefully other people had good turnouts at their National Night Out too. But what a great way to meet your neighbors, so.
It sounds like your party was out of control.
It was.
Chief,
But
did you
only one
patrol
police
through there?
officer. Yeah, so.
I'll say that we should add that hat that John Albert was wearing to his regular attire. That was great. That was good.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn?
To adjourn, a second. All right, we have first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.